Begin with an invocation that's going to be given by Carolina Calvamonte, after which Brittany will read the obituary, and then James and George will speak to us, and then we will have a slideshow presentation.
Nuestro Padre Celestial, te damos gracias por estar reunido aquí para celebrar la memoria de lo que fue nuestra suegra, nuestra segunda mamá, la abuela de mis hijas, María Teresa Mauri. Gracias, Padre, por haberla enviado. Gracias, Padre, por darnos el tiempo de compartir con ella. Gracias, Padre, por todo el amor que ella está dejando en mis hijas, en mi persona, en mi familia. Gracias, Padre, por este tan bonito legado que vamos a seguir compartiendo por el resto de nuestra vida aquí en la tierra. Te pido que hoy bendigas a mi esposo. Te pido que bendigas con mucho cariño, amor, respeto. Bendice a mis cuñados, a mis cuñadas, a mis padres y a todos los que están presentes para celebrar la memoria de mi suegra. Te pido que los abrace con mucho amor, cariño, consuelo. Y nuevamente te pido que nos des la oportunidad para que sigamos compartiendo este sentimiento tan bonito que solamente la nona nos dejó a todos. Te pido una bendición especial para mis hijas, para que ellas siempre recuerden lo bonito que fue tener la experiencia de tener una abuela increíble en sus vidas y que nunca, nunca se olviden de eso. Gracias, Padre, nuevamente. Y esto lo dejo en tu precio, Cristo. Amén.
Maria Teresa Mauri, beloved mother, sister, and grandmother, passed away unexpectedly on Sunday, September 14th, 2025 in Ogden, Utah. Teresa was born on May 21st, 1948 in La Paz, Bolivia, to Maria Felicitas Peñalosa Valdez and Alberto Mauri Jimenez. She was one of 5 siblings, 3 sisters, and 1 brother, and faced the profound loss of her mother at just 7 years old. This early loss deeply shaped her life, instilling in her a strength and compassion that would define her character. Despite the challenges of being raised by a single father, a dedicated general doctor, she often spoke of how she and her siblings leaned on one another through those difficult years. She always admired her father for everything he was able to provide for her and her siblings, and it was her desire to have her ashes laid to rest alongside his one day. Inspired by her father's service in medicine, Teresa pursued a career in healthcare. After graduating from Sagrados Corazones, she moved to La Plata, Argentina to study nursing. She proudly became a certified surgical technician and spent 13 years working at Hospital Obrero in La Paz, where her father also served as the director. She was affectionately known by many as Dr. Mauri's daughter and often recalled those years with pride and joy. At a young age, Teresa became a mother to her beloved son, Alvaro. Although she and his father were ultimately separated by family circumstances, she always carried the memory of that first love close to her heart. Later, she married Luis Francisco Calvamonte, and together they raised 3 more sons, George, Carlos, and James. Teresa and her husband moved to the United States in 1986, where she continued to be the steady and loving presence her family relied on. Although she missed her relatives in Bolivia dearly, she remained close to her sisters, keeping in touch frequently and cherishing every opportunity to reconnect with them during visits. Having grown up without a mother, Teresa was determined to give her children all the love, care, and stability she had longed for. She succeeded beyond measure. Teresa was the heart of her home, cooking delicious Bolivian meals daily, keeping an immaculate household, taking her sons to school and soccer games. She would even take on outdoor tasks and could be found climbing in the trees, trimming branches. After her children were grown, she found employment as a teaching assistant at a Montessori preschool where she was lovingly known and adored as Miss Teresa. She loved working with the children and took pride in watching them grow. She truly did it all, a shining example of hard work, nurturing care, and unwavering devotion to her family. In 2021, Teresa was diagnosed with polycythemia vera and other complex medical conditions that made travel to Bolivia difficult. That same year brought her most profound heartbreak, the loss of her eldest son, Alvaro. For approximately 15 years leading up to his passing, the two had shared a home and special bond of mutual care and deep affection. His passing left a permanent ache in her heart, and not a day went by that she didn't think of him. Teresa's faith, family values, and resilience remained unshaken. She often said that the important lesson she hoped to pass on was simple yet profound. Take care of each other and be good to your parents. Having lost both of hers before the age of 30 and a brother at a young age, she understood the value of love and togetherness in ways that few others could. Now reunited with Alvaro and her beloved parents, Teresa leaves behind a legacy of strength, kindness, and unconditional love.
Are there tissues up here? Because you may need them. Thanks, Brad. Friend, director, funeral director. I've been kind of dreading this because, talking about your mom is, in this circumstance is tough. I'm the baby of the family, so obviously I'm the favorite. And I just want to thank everybody who came today and to show your love and support. It's nice to see a lot of people I haven't seen for a while, and I know my mom loved each and every one of you guys, and I appreciate those who also came from far away to travel to be here today, so thank you. We also have my family in Bolivia who's watching through Zoom, and so I'm going to address them in Spanish real quick. And so if you don't know Spanish, too bad. Gracias a la familia allá en Bolivia. Mi mamá los quería mucho y siempre se preocupaba por sus hermanas y por todos ustedes allá, y amo mucho a todos ustedes, y siempre a sus hijos nos acordaba que tenemos una familia muy grande allá en Bolivia que nos quiere mucho. Les aprecio por todo el amor y amistad que han dado a mi mamá y a nosotros, a mis hermanos. Y yo sé que mi mamá va a estar cuidando a ustedes desde arriba, y era muy lindo la manera que hablaba de sus hermanas. Y espero que la tía Carmen y Nancy y Daisy y también la Gladys, que todos sepan que tanto mi mamá las quería. So, I one time attended a funeral that where I heard a quote from Maya Angelou, an American poet and activist, and it said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And over the past, couple weeks since my mom's passing, I've realized how true that is, because sometimes it's been hard to remember all the little things she said and all the details about my mom. But I will never forget how she made me feel, because she really did make me feel special. And not only me, but my brother. She loved us, and we were her babies. And an example of how she always made me feel special was, with soccer. Many of you know how much I love soccer. Sometimes my wife might think I love soccer more than her. But my mom was always very supportive of me and my love for soccer, and she would take me to my practices, to my games, and And as the years go on, the competition was a little bit different, where, I was playing high school and then college, and I'd always talk to her about those games, and but nowadays, as I get older and slower, I love to process each game with my mom, whether it be an indoor co-ed game or outdoor. And usually I'll call my wife and say, hey, I want to tell you about this amazing goal I had, or how bad I'm playing. And my wife, bless her, she's usually like, I'm taking care of the kids. Can we talk about it when you get home? And so my go-to after that was always to call my mom. And some games were late at like midnight, but I knew I could always call her. And she was always very excited to hear from me. And you could tell in her voice how proud she was of me. And even though I got old and slow, she would always say, I'm glad you keep playing and keep playing. It's good exercise. And she loved to hear about every little detail that I would share with her. And so I know she's still going to be cheering me on, hopefully. And hopefully I keep playing till I'm like 80. We'll see. I was my mom's little buddy, and some people say I'm a mama's boy, and it's cool. I feel very proud to be a mama's boy. Even when I was a little kid, I remember my mom would do Black Friday shopping, and back in the day, you wake up 4 a.m. and she would go every year, and I would go with her every single time. It was kind of like our tradition, and she would line up, fill our pockets with grocery bags, so we can get the best deal on socks. And every year we got new socks on Black Friday, and those are just traditions that I really appreciated, and the time that I got to spend with my mom. I also remember that, she gave me a great foundation of the gospel of God and Jesus, because I remember my mom, and she always tells me I'm very Catholic, and she was Catholic to the core, and she would go to Catholic church, and I would go with her most Sundays, and I remember she'd always ask if I wanted to go, and I'd go with her, and we'd walk a couple blocks to church, and she'd get all dolled up and wear nice clothes and jewelry, put on her lipstick and perfume, and we'd go together. And right now, like, it is hard to remember, like, what did we talk about and kind of the details of that, but I just remember always feeling happy with my mom. I enjoyed all those walks with her to church, and even now it's beautiful because I get to carry it with me with my own kids. When I walk to church, my kids, especially my daughter, loves to walk with me, and we get to spend that time together. And that was a good example that my mom set for me. So she honestly just loved her voice, and when she lost, every time I asked her about her history, about her past, she always kind of spoke about it in a negative light, because she always reverted back to how she never had a mom. And that made a lasting impact on her, where because she didn't have a mom, she wanted to be that mom that she never had. She wanted to be the perfect mom. And so that's exactly what she did for me and my brothers. She would cook, clean. I never had to do laundry or like a lot of laundry. I didn't learn how to do anything really until I was an adult. My first haircut was when I was an adult, because my mom just always did everything for us. And as she got older, she wasn't able, because of her health, she wasn't able to do as much. And I just remember for the past 5 years, I would say, hey, Mom, come live with us. We'll take care of you. And she'd always say, no, Alvaro needs me. And he's my baby. And at the time, he's 48 years old. But she always said, he needs me. And then when he passed away, she went to live with Carlos. And I was like, Mom, come live with me. She's like, no, Carlos needs me. And then she lived with George. And then the exact same thing. Now George needs me. I can't leave. And unfortunately, she did come to live with me for a little over a year before she passed away. And now I get it. It wasn't necessarily that we needed her. Obviously, we did need her, but I think she just had that need to be a mom. And she really was the best mom. I probably need to wrap this up. I just, ever since Alvaro passed away, she just carried this deep sadness, and I like to think that she's with him now, just watching over all of us and taking care of us. And there's something that I think Lee said, and if you didn't say, I apologize. I'm going to give you credit for it. But he said that there's no greater blessing than to care for a parent. It's one of the most Christ-like things that you could do. And I truly believe that because of caring for my mom was truly a blessing for me and my family, for my kids, for my wife. And I know she's in a better place now, and she's with my brother and with Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And I just want to thank all of you for all the love that you've given to my mom, and for all the little things you've done, and for the neighbors taking care of my mom. I see Jeremy back there, and remember fixing her mower and using a blowtorch to melt the ice in her driveway. People always took care of her and people are willing to do anything for her. And when I ask why, they just say it's because she's Teresa. She's the best. And I truly think that. And so I appreciate all of you. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, James, you kind of covered a lot there. Didn't leave much room for me. But yeah, it's as far as my mom, anybody that's known her has known that she's basically terrible because it's been her sons. Basically, like, she's been the core of our family ever since we were little kids in Bolivia. It came from her parents, her sisters. Her dad basically like took care of her in the same way she took care of us. Like, she did anything for her daughters. Well, us, my brothers won't know our history from when we're back in Bolivia, but me and Alvaro were pretty much just have very fond memories of our family in Bolivia, in La Paz. All our aunts, our unity that we've had there is just like, it all came from that. And I'm sure it came from her dad. The unity that we were all together. I know I have cousins and aunts there I can depend on. I have not seen them for a long time, but I know they're there. And whenever on Facebook, any comments, I can tell that they're there for us. If I ever needed anything from there, I can go back to Bolivia, and that's home. So that's the route that my mom had, and she carried it to us. And like James said it very well, like, anything she did, it came from her experience where she did not have a mom. She lost it her very early. She did do everything for us. Even myself had the same experience James said. I don't remember doing much thing as a kid. She did all our laundry. She cleaned our rooms. Like, you would go to school, come back, just had the bed done. All the laundry was done. You're like, what a free mind. Like, you didn't have any stress. It really, isn't it? But as we grew older, she took on that role, like she was getting older, but she would always ask us, hey, did you guys do this? Did you pay your bills? Did you do your oil change? Did you do all these things? She would follow up all the time. Even when we were not living with her, you had a conversation over the phone and she would be going like, how's everything going? How's work going? Did you mow your lawn? How's your car doing? Any issues? And she was like, even she was not, she almost had a second instinct in her though. And she kind of bragged about it, that she had a feeling like, even when you, at least I knew like when I was going through harder times, she would call and she was like, I feel it. I seriously feel there's something going on. Tell me. Sure enough, there was some hardship going through my life, and she would ask. And you can vent to her, and she's like, what do you need? Do I need to get out? Carl's involved. Do I need to get James involved? But yeah, she did have that mother instinct that she was always there for us. Kind of deviating from my plan here a little bit. But as far as one of the biggest sacrifices she did have for me is after high school, I kind of did have health problems. I became very ill. At that time, my parents were basically, we moved here from Bolivia, right to Cache Valley, very sheltered life there and here. And we just lived here. We never came out of Cache Valley. My parents moved here, like everything for them was very overwhelming as far as culture wise, but we moved here because it was a safe place. My dad kind of knew this place as being a very safe, and that's why we moved here. But at that time, I became very ill, and I was decided basically I got moved to Salt Lake for care for about good 4-6 months. And my mom did the unthinkable because they never left. They were comfortable driving around town. But my mom basically every single week, she pulled the courage to drive to Salt Lake. She would sleep in the same room as I did. And like for us before that time, it was like mind blowing. Like, oh my gosh, drive through Salt Lake through the highways. How do you understand why exit going 65 miles an hour? Oh my gosh, like that was a mind blowing thing for my parents. But she's like, my son's sick. I need to be with him. Somehow she figured it out. And she would go every week. Drive over there, stay in the same room as I did for 3 or 4 days, come back. She still had to take care of my brothers. So she would drive back, still take care of the house, and drive back. And she followed through until it was in a good place. So yeah, it just shows that she was willing to do anything for us. Her family, and she spoke very well like she never left it. She was a core of our family here and in Bolivia. Like she would always be talking about our aunts, talking to our cousins. And then she pretty much said, if you guys need anything, remember, you still have your family in Bolivia and they'll be there for you guys. And I know it because I've been there. I lived it. I grew up it when I was a kid. The unity that we had back there was carried on. And my brothers have been able to go to Bolivia, and I'm sure they can speak to it, right? When you guys went there, they welcomed you guys with open arms, the new kids of the sister, and took care of you guys. Yeah, the memory of my mom for sure. I don't know what else to say, just I love her. She took care of us, and with Alvaro, that was a heartbreak for her, losing Alvaro. Yeah, it just, I don't know. Deviated from my plan, but so appreciate everybody for coming over and supporting us as a family. Everybody that's known her, she's a wonderful lady that will do anything for everybody, so thank you.
Tanto correr por la vida sin freno. Me olvidé que la vida se vive un momento. De tanto querer ser en todo el primero. Me olvidé de vivir los detalles pequeños. De tanto jugar con los sentimientos. Viviendo de aplausos envueltos en sueños. De tanto gritar mis canciones al viento. Ya no soy como ayer. Ya no sé lo que siento. Me olvidé de vivir. Me olvidé de vivir. Me olvidé de vivir. Me olvidé de vivir. De tanto cantarle al amor y a la vida. Me quedé sin amor una noche de un día. De tanto jugar con quien yo más quería. Perdí sin querer lo mejor que tenía. De tanto ocultar la verdad con mentira.
Okay, now Brianna and Quinn are gonna come and share a few memories of their grandma, followed by their dad Carlos, and then James will give the closing prayer. After the closing prayer, you're invited to stay and visit with family and share condolences and memories with them if you would like.
No, I miss you so much. I've been remembering all the special times we had together. I still think of you reading the invisible string when you went through Alberta into heaven. My favorite part was when the book time was 10 string reached all the way to you, and now to you in heaven too. I know it can. I can feel it in my heart. Remember laying in the bed while playing with my stuffed animal, Julia. You always made everything clear, safe, and good. I love that I have the name Teresa, just like you. I feel close to you. I'm really happy that you were on my 7th birthday. That hug was the best, and I will never forget. I love you now, always and forever. Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm her first grandchild. Do you wonder what her name is? Actually, I don't call her grandma. I call her Nona. Her real name is Maria Teresa Mauri. Nona was kind, loving, and caring. When I got older, and I have kids, I will give one of my children the name Teresa and hope they will pass it to their children. And she was never afraid to talk about her favorite grandchild, and she will tell that to everyone. And she loved me, my sister, and my cousins very much. She will never stop saying it. A memory I want to share: when I was little, when we heard the doorbell ring, we went straight to it and opened the door. Right there, it was a little kitten in a bed. At first, I did not know how it got there, but it got there because of my mom. She barely got home. But when my sister and I saw it, we grabbed the bed and yelled, "Nona, Nona, a kitty!" Before she passed away, she was in her bed. Our cat is now a little bigger and it's a he, and the name is Nico, but sometimes we call him Mika. I was reading to Nona, then Nico came in and laid with me and Nona. So Nico for me is a symbol of faith and Nona. Nico looks like Nona because he has gray and white fur. I love Nona very much and I know she loves me too. Always and forever. Amen.
Oh, you guys are lucky. Speaking before the slideshow and everything else. It's terrible. Oh, okay. And James, I don't know about the favorite child, but I think Alvaro might have you beat on that one. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of my family, I want to thank you for being here today to honor and remember the life of my mom, Maria Teresa Mauri. Though to us, she was simply mom, or as many knew her, Mother Teresa, Boba, Nona, or Miss Teresa in her monastery school times. We gather with sadness because losing her feels like losing the very heart of our family. Yet, we also gather with gratitude for the love she gave so freely, the lessons she taught, and the countless memories that now live within us. Today, I want to share who my mom truly was, not just the facts of her life, but the way she made us feel, the moments we laughed with her, and the love she poured into our family. And my family in Bolivia, hola ustedes que están allá en Bolivia. Mi mamá siempre tenía ustedes en su corazón, cada día hablando de ustedes con mucho cariño y tenemos mucha suerte que también que podemos estar juntos todos. Gracias. My mom was the center of our universe. She lived her life for her family, raising us, caring for us, cooking for us. I mean, George, James just brought it up. I mean, everything was taken care of, laundry, everything. Oh, we were spoiled to death. But I'm so grateful for it because I could see the hard work she put into every second, her time into us. And always worrying about us endlessly because as boys, we were careless, we would disappear, cause chaos, and she was fortunate to have 4 boys. So that's just in itself crazy. She was strong, determined, sometimes stubborn, but always guided by love. Having lost her own mother as a child, she made it her mission to give her children the love and stability she had once longed for, and I can say to this day, she succeeded. Whether it was driving us to school, soccer games, pulling weeds in the yard, as you guys saw in the picture, she just kept going. There wasn't a day that she stopped. Also, just making sure we were fed constantly. One of the best memories is just her homemade Bolivian meals. She was the one we could always count on. Just good days, bad days, any of that. She didn't just hold the family together, she was the glue that made us who we are today. My mom had her own sense of humor, sometimes unexpected. She'll say things in Spanish that I won't say those things thinking about it, but it was the best memories that I have. Just the back and forth little play. But she was also, she could be dramatic, like one of the novellas she loved to watch. I mean, back in the day, she'd be there and it was like it was real life. I think that kind of catered into some of the reactions that she was when she was just like, it's the end of the world, something bad's gonna happen. Which in her mind, so assuming the worst, which in her mind made her right sooner or later. Let's just be honest, something's bad gonna happen. But behind that drama was always love and concern, and I do remember that without a doubt. And one of my favorite memories was taking her to Angie's. Kind of like her favorite place, I would say at this point. But at first, she never wanted to go out. I mean, headstrong, stubborn. She liked her routine and what she did, but she was set in her ways. But once I eventually convinced her, I noticed she kind of lit up once we started going out. I teased her saying, and I hope no one gets offended with this. And it was a joke, but Angie's is for old people, is what I told her the first time that we went. And she would really roll her eyes. That was just our sense of humor. And so she'd just look around and I'd like, check it out, we're here. And she'd just laugh. But at the end of the meal, when they offered the free ice cream cone, I teased her again. But she gave it in. And grinning like a child as she enjoyed it, covering her face, because at the moment, you know, you never know how long things are gonna last. I tried taking pictures, she didn't, it never worked. I wasn't able to pull it off. But that became our routine. After doctor appointments, she couldn't refuse. She was already out, she was in the car. And so Angie's became our place. Having the ice cream, laughter, and good conversation. Those simple moments are treasures in my heart. If there's one thing that defined my mom, it was her kindness and loyalty to her family. She had an incredible intuition, always calling with that familiar, ¿Qué pasó? Whenever she sensed something might be wrong. And when life got hard, she was right there. My brothers can attest to this. She was ready there to listen, to support. To her sons could do no wrong. And I think the wives can believe that her sons can do no wrong. She always had her backs, no matter what. She always had a gift for caring for others through food. My childhood friends would come over, excited not just to hang out, but because they knew she would treat them like family, feeding them salteñas, picante de pollo, papa la huacaina, just whatever she ended up cooking for the day. Everyone who sat at her table got a taste of her love, and in that way, she made everyone feel at home. Later in her life, her greatest joy was her grandchildren. I will never forget the light in her eyes when she held my daughters, Brianna and Quinn. She was so proud, so protective, and so full of joy. I don't think there was anything else. I think that's the memory that's going to stick with me the most, is that she got to hold them for the first time. And it was just pure love. Just the look in her face. Proud, happy. That same love extended to all her grandchildren. Brianna, Quinn, is, you know, Mila, Desmond, and Simon. She loved you all. And she showed it. She lived for their smiles, their hugs, and the chance to spoil them with the same love and food that filled our childhoods. And those memories are there for us. To her, being a grandmother was not just a role, it was the reward for a life of sacrifice and love. Even through hardship and loss, my mom never wavered in her faith and family. And she reminded us again and again, take care of each other. And she also reminded, you only have one, you only have your parents. There's only one of them. It was a simple lesson, but one born from her own experiences, losing both of her parents at a young age and later losing her eldest son, Avo. Those losses gave her a perspective few of us could understand, and yet she never let grief harden her. Instead, she turned it to love. She was there when we needed her the most. She taught us that nothing in life is stronger than family, and that love is the one thing that endures. So how will we remember her? As a mother who gave her all, as a grandmother whose joy was unmatched, as a woman who sacrificed, worried, cooked, prayed, and loved with her whole being. We will remember her stubbornness, her humor, her ancient, caring nature, her novellas, her music, Julio Iglesias. I think I will be playing that every weekend at this point. Her garden, her cooking, and most of all, her heart. She was the heart of our family, and that still beats in us, in our children, in our grandchildren. And that reminds me with Brianna's speech, she's already thinking of what she's going to name her child at what, 9 years old. And Mom, if I had one more chance to speak to you, I would say thank you for everything. Thank you for your sacrifices, your love, your laughter, your guidance, and your strength. I love you always and forever. We take comfort in believing you are reunited with your parents, with Alvaro. And though in our hearts ache at your absence, we know your love will never leave us. It lives in all of us. So today, we do not say goodbye. Instead, we say thank you. We love you. Rest in peace, Mom. You will forever be in our hearts. And again, always and forever.
Nuestro querido Padre Celestial, te damos gracias por este día y por todas las personas que han venido hoy, todo el apoyo y el amor y el cariño que que han dado para nuestra mamá y para nosotros. Y te damos gracias por tu presencia, por el Espíritu y por Jesucristo. Y te damos gracias que hemos podido tener buenos tiempos con nuestra mamá y que siempre vamos a acordar todo el amor que nos ha dado. Cuídala, cuida a nosotros, a cada uno de nosotros que estamos pasando por tiempos difíciles y bendícenos con paz y con tu presencia y para que podamos disfrutar de esta vida y que un día podamos regresar contigo, regresar con nuestra mamá, con nuestros familiares. Bendice a todos nosotros y te damos gracias por todo y decimos esto en el nombre de Jesucristo. Amén.
Amén.
Yes.